Hello, everybody. Hope you're all doing well today. So, we're back with some Fruit of Grisaia for today, if that wasn't clearly obvious. I'll be honest, I was a little tiny bit tempted to cancel this morning at the very least. I did not wake up feeling the greatest. My arm was hurting more than it did yesterday, and I had a horrible headache. Getting out of bed was a chore. But I just kind of sat there, drank some water, ate a little bit of something, had a hot shower, and I'm feeling a lot better now, so yeah. That is a temporary thing. But, enough of that part. No, you guys don't really care about that. We are continuing with Amane's route, and if I really push myself, probably I will finish it today. I want to finish it. It would be great if I could finish it today, but yeah, who knows what the cards have laid out for me. So, what happened last time? We finally finished Amane's flashback backstory thing. It got worse. The girls were dying slowly, and then the teacher and some of the other girls started eating the corpses. Once they found out Amane and Kazuki knew, they were gonna kill them and presumably eat them. Kazuki presumably sacrificed herself. Last description we got was she was being held down by all of them. So Kazuki's almost certainly dead. But Amane got away. She managed to find civilization, and she was okay. And we ended off right as we got back to the present. So, we're gonna load up. And we're finally back in the present day. I can no longer do this stupid voice. Oh, come on. Bitrate, why? Are you kidding me? Is Bitrate gonna do this the entire time I try to do Grisaia? You were so fine last night. Is it just this game? Do you not like this game for some reason? Fine, I'll shut down Discord again. Make you happy. Why is it doing this? God, it was perfectly fine last night. Like, I had, like, zero problems. It's because I'm trying to load up a game through Steam at the same time? I don't know. Doesn't seem to make sense. Task Manager, show me everything. My God. Wow, this is terrible. This is just awful. Am I gonna have to do this every fucking time now? So I can shut things off to make it not do this. Nothing else will screw it up. God damn, what is making you go so badly today? Again? It's just Grisaia? Ugh. I can't win, guys. I literally can't win with this damn fucking anything anymore. I think my luck finally ran out. anything else going on. What happens if I open up fucking Chrome? Oh, it doesn't kill me, so... It doesn't kill the stream, so... Okay. Well, hey, according to Google's speed test, I'm fine, so... Even with this Wi-Fi connection, so clearly it's... should be okay? Yeah. Says my connection is very fast. Wow. I'm gonna have to fucking cancel the stream today, aren't I? I swear to God, if I have to. God, according to 2 different speed tests, my upload and everything is sitting at around 10 megabytes per second. And I'm only getting 500 kilobytes right now. I don't think it's anything I can do at this point. Unless I really fucking want to do it and run one long-ass goddamn Ethernet cable down here. But I don't think that's gonna help. I mean, it might help, but still, this is really fucking annoying. Right when I want to finish something, this has got to happen, huh? Yeah, no, not a 3-foot cable. Ah, yes, a 50-foot Ethernet cable. I'm sure that'll do it. I mean, I probably need a 50-foot cable to get down here. Okay, wow, it is sitting in, like, just the hundreds right now. Come on, bitrate, what the fuck? I literally disconnected my internet from the computer and turned it back on. I don't know if that's gonna do anything. So that's what the brief disconnect was. Ugh. We'll see what happens. Might as well just start the game and hope for the best. So again, we are back in the present day now. Might actually be my Wi-Fi adapter, in all honesty. I think at this point it might just be getting bad. If I order a different one. This music is how I feel right now. Fuck it, I'm just gonna buy a new adapter. Somewhat cheap. And I'll be here by Friday. So that's all it is. It's just my adapter is just bad. I don't know, whatever. There. This is one hell of a story. I raised my eyes from the diary, reflexively staring up into Amane's face. Her eyes are downcast, her mouth twisted sorrowfully.
ねえ、ユージは孤独って知ってる?
Let me guess, they start eating each other? Cockroaches? From what I read about them, they're incredibly durable creatures. They can last for weeks without food, and sometimes cannibalize each other.
私はね、毒虫を詰め込んだ壺の中から生き残った最強最悪の毒虫なのよ。
Well, that explains the name, the nickname. I can't find anything to say. I'm so sorry. That must have been terrible. I've gone through something similar myself? The comparison would be unfair. The paths we followed to that point were far too different. Even so, I understand. Thrown abruptly into a rain-soaked hell without adequate food? Unable to imagine what tomorrow will bring, your physical and emotional strength are slowly whittled down? Oh my god, fucking... Goddamn bits. Do I have to watch this fucking stream on my goddamn phone just to know what it looks like at all times? I mean, it looks fine for now. The ones wobbling on their feet have a week. The ones sitting, 5 days. The ones laying down, 3. The ones that can't speak, 2. And the ones that can't blink will be dead before sunsets. At some point, you've lost the energy to dig graves for your companions. You sleep next to the rotting corpses of your friends. Hell on earth. Precisely because I understand, I have no words to offer her. I seek refuge in the tattered diary in my hands. Returning home as the only survivor of that horrific accident, my reception wasn't what you'd call gentle. The media widely discussed the incident and its miraculous survivor, spicing up their articles with a barrage of thoughtless and downright cruel speculation. While never publishing my actual name, many twisted their limited information to suggest my survival had come at the cost of my humanity. It was a social problem. It was the social problem of the hour. Okay, while it goes down to 0, it looks like the quality doesn't actually dip. Interesting. When I returned to school after recovering my physical strength, a classmate thrust a weekly magazine to my face. It was open to a gory photograph of the crash scene as it had been discovered. Hey, this corpse. This is Haruka-san's face, isn't it? Poor girl. So tell me something. Why were you the only one who survived? Everyone else died. Why are you the only one who came back? Of course, at that age, the gruesome and bizarre have an irresistible pull. At first, the words might have been nothing but curiosity, carrying no ill intent. At first, they may not have even realized their own casual cruelty. But that first question opened the floodgates. Soon, the entire class was hurling questions at me, mostly for their own amusement. Hey, you ate them, didn't you? Base speculation always runs along predictable lines. Better the titillating fiction than the complicated truth. How can she live with herself? Makes me want to puke. I wouldn't have done it in a million years. Some things are more important than staying alive. I'd rather starve to death. Just seeing her face makes me lose my appetite. I hope she transfers soon. Soon they spoke with undisguised hatred. My denials fell on deaf ears, and I stopped even trying. In their eyes, I was a cockroach, a vicious, durable insect. Inside the confines of the killing jar, I had killed my own kind to survive. And now I had crawled back to safety all alone. It quickly became impossible for me to attend school normally. Before long, a special classroom was prepared for me to study alone. The administration's attempt at resolving the problem was half-hearted and passive. Essentially, they isolated me from my classmates, leaving my former homeroom teacher to take care of any problems that might arise. But since their main concern was minimizing further disruption, the choice made sense. And fortunately, that teacher was a kind woman who offered me warm encouragement. It's alright. As long as you're alive, you can start again. Wow. Okay, I'm back. It straight up disconnected on me. This is really fucking ridiculous right now. I'm sorry. It does not want me to play this fucking game, apparently, today. And I don't know why. I almost feel like it's just literally my Wi-Fi itself. I don't have any other processes going on in the background, and now I'm down in the hundreds again. Like, does it look bad to you guys? On my phone, it doesn't look bad. It looks fine, but still. Yeah, I mean, it looks perfectly fine on my phone, just it keeps fucking disconnecting now. Because people are home trying to stream, like, Netflix and crap? I mean, people have done that before and I've been fine. I'm gonna end stream, I'm gonna restart my computer just entirely, and then I'll come back and see if that does anything. It probably won't, but it's worth a shot, so, just hold on for a moment. Okay, should be back in live. Yeah, that's another bunch of VODs I'm gonna have to combine together. Lovely. That's never fun. It's rather annoying because my computer takes forever to frickin' render shit. But we're back for now. We'll see how this goes. If it keeps going to like crap, I'm just gonna end. I don't want to keep fighting and keep this experience to be terrible for you guys. Hey, I'm gonna have to test that thing to see if Powerline does its shit. It was all perfectly fine last night. Ugh, oh well. Do what I can. Alright, I'll read this part again, just to get back into it. I'm here for you. I'll be here as long as it takes. So please, please keep trying. Okay? Her words pulled me through some of the blackest days. She was right. My survival had come at the cost of many, many sacrifices. I had to keep going. For the sake of those who had died, and for the people who still believed in me. But eventually, I was made to realize these innocent thoughts were founded on nothing more than childish naivete. Half a year after the accident, I moved up to the next grade in a new homeroom, and the teacher who had treated me so kindly abruptly stopped her little therapy sessions. Her attitude changed. The sympathy left her eyes. In the end, her kindness had been nothing more than the professional mask of an adult doing her job. That realization hurt me more deeply than any of the lies or insults ever had. After yet another day of isolated misery in an empty classroom, I returned home to find the words "cockroach nest" scrawled in huge letters across the side of my house. My mom was crouched beside the graffiti with a bucket and brush, tears in her eyes as she desperately tried to clean it off. Her teeth were tightly clenched, as if to keep the sobs inside. They had made her cry. They had made my stout-hearted mom weep as miserably as a child. Hit by a wave of inexpressible, overwhelming sadness, I fell to my knees on the spot. Is other people's misery really that much fun to you? The reality had nothing to do with it. They weren't even trying to look at the truth. All they wanted was an interesting story, and my suffering seemed to be highly entertaining to them. I could endure the slander and abuse, but at this rate, I would end up becoming a blight on my own family. I simply couldn't take it anymore. What did I survive for anyway? This? If I'd just died with everyone else in that valley, none of this would have happened. I wanted to turn back time. I wanted to go back into that ravine, to redo it all from the start. I could see nothing in my future, so I fantasized about the past. Even so, I resigned myself to the present. I accepted the ridicule and ostracism of those around me. That's an awkward word to say. I'd stepped over the bodies of my friends to save myself. Surely I needed some punishment for that. Of course, no one was going to object to my suffering. It was the least I deserved. Damn. I could prostrate myself, weeping in front of my friends' graves all I wanted, but no one was going to forgive me that easily. Until I had suffered more than those who had died, no one would approve of my continued existence. This was my punishment for surviving. I accepted it. I knew that I couldn't expect clemency, but even so, I desperately needed someone to give me the hope that it might end, that someday I might be forgiven. Self-loathing was my only means of atonement, and it was a feeble counterweight against the sin I was committing with every breath I drew. I was gradually driven into a corner. How wonderful would it have been to run from it all? To shed the weight of what I'd done. But the punishment for surviving was impossible to escape. I had no choice but to bear it. I tried to be strong. I tried to act cheerfully in the face of it all. But it was so very hard. The slightest smile on my face would inspire condemnation. How can she laugh after what happened? If I ran away from their words, they'd condemn that as well. My crimes would never be forgiven. Every once in a while, I dreamed at night. Always the same nightmare. Always in the same place, the depths of that hellish jungle. In the gloomy forest, the girls from the basketball club sat on the roots of trees, still and quiet. One by one, they slowly died. The corpses lay against the trunks of the trees, swelling up with gas like gruesome balloons, Jesus Christ. Their faces had been bloated from the start by severe malnutrition. Now it was impossible to tell where their eyes had been. Eventually, their mouths creaked open and the gas inside their bodies began to leak out into the humid air with a sound like a ghostly moan. Before long, those faint sounds would become voices. Amane. Amane. Help me. Amane. I don't want to die. Amane. It hurts so much, Amane. Why only you? Why, Amane? Why won't you help me? Hey! Amane! I'd lost count of how many times I'd woken up screaming in the middle of the night. Going to sleep had become terrifying. But even awake, I could hear the voices whispering in my ear. The voices of my friends, calling my name. When I turned back, there was no one there. Even so, I heard the whispers. Constantly. Asleep or awake, someone was always cursing me. My guilt was ever present, crushing. I had no refuge. In time, I lost the ability to distinguish between reality and my dreams. Even awake, I screamed at phantoms. Sometimes, I thought about just dying. But I couldn't commit suicide. If I took my own life, I'd be branded for all eternity as a coward who fled from the punishment of her actions, her actions had earned. Maybe someone would be so kind as to kill me instead? A random, violent death at another's hand might as well be my only possible salvation. If someone killed me, I could escape without having fled from my responsibility. If someone would only punish me. Yes, that was it. Every time someone harassed or tormented me, it felt as though the weight of the sin on my shoulders grew a little lighter. If I could live my life entirely for someone else's sake, maybe someday I'd be forgiven. But for that role, I needed someone who would punish me for the sin of surviving. So that so that when moments of happiness found me, when I laughed, I could simply offer a silent apology to the dead. I needed someone who would give me an excuse for when the voices whispered in my ear. I needed an answer to their resentful curses. See? I'm getting exactly what I deserve. I absolutely needed that. In the end, I wasted years and years of my life waiting for someone who could bring me that hollow, self-serving comfort.
そんな時、私に罰を与えるのにふさわしい男が現れた。私を助けるために自分を犠牲にした風見一樹。その風見一樹の弟、遺族、それがユージだったんだよ。
Okay, we're the one who's gonna punish you for living? Sure, Amane, sure.
ずっと黙っててごめんね、ユージ。私はね、あんたのお姉ちゃんを犠牲にして生き残った惨めな卑怯者なんだよ。ごめんなさい。
Still staring into my eyes, Amane sniffles miserably. I see. My body feels as stiff and wooden as the words coming out of my mouth. It takes all my effort just to nod. I understand. Some sins can never be forgiven. No matter how many times we apologize, the dead can never come back.
ずっと言おうと思ってたんだよ。謝ろうと思ってた。でも言えなかった。
Yeah, I mean, that would be a hard thing to just kind of say, "Hi, name's Amane. I'm the reason your sister's dead. Let's be best friends."
私ね、事故の後、一度だけ
Oh.
和樹の家に行ったことがあるの。家族の人には本当のことを全部話そうって思ってた。信じてもらえなくても、ひどく責められても構わない。でも一言謝りたいってずっと思ってた。でも和樹の家には誰もいなかった。
That probably would have been when they all kind of moved, I would assume.
近所の人に話を聞いたら、1年も前にご両親が離婚されて、それからずっと空き家だって。離婚の原因は和樹が事故で死んだからだって聞かされた。私がユージの家族をめちゃくちゃにしちゃったんだって、そう思ったら怖くて言い出せなかったんだよ。
Yeah, I'd be stunned silent too. True enough, Kazuki's death was the catalyst of my parents' divorce. But what came after? The real disintegration of my family? That was inevitable. Hi, I'm the reason why you're an only child. Will you sleep with me? Hey Nick, how's it going? My father's death and my mother's suicide were inescapable, fated events. Amane had nothing to do with any of that. In either way, making her into a scapegoat won't change the past.
だから私がユージと初めて会った時、私がユージからお姉ちゃんを奪ってしまったのなら、だったらせめて和樹の代わりになろうって。
That explains why she wants to be the big sister. You're alright? Good, good. Glad you're doing good.
私なんかじゃ和樹の代わりにはならない。そんなのは私に都合がいいだけの逃げだって、そう分かっていても他にできることなんてなかった。 だから何を言われても逆らわない、優しいお姉ちゃんになろうってそう決めた。ユージがキスされるぐらいどうってことない。それ以上望まれても断るつもりはなかった。
She was literally gonna do anything we said.
何をされても絶対に文句は言わない。ユージが望むなら何でもしてあげようって思った。抱かれるぐらいどうってことない。どうせ一度は諦めた命だし、カズキの代わりに生き残った命だもん。
Christ.
私はユージの本当のお姉ちゃんじゃない分、本当のお姉ちゃんにはできないこともしてあげようって決めたの。
Hold on, Amane. I want to make sure I'm clear on something. In other words, you approached me out of a sense of responsibility and not any romantic feelings. I'm not going to get angry about it at this point. Give me the honest truth.
正直に言うとね、別にユージのことは嫌いではないけど、好きというほどのめり込んでいるわけでもなかった。
Yeah, guess what? That's gonna hurt probably even more than the fact that, you are, like, indirectly responsible for the sister dying.
都合のいい女でいてあげるのが私の罰だって、そう思ってた。生き残った罰としては、全然軽いと思ってた。それでも、ユージに抱かれると、少し気分が軽くなったの。ユージに抱かれるたびに、私は自分の中の罪が軽くなっていくような気がしたの。私にとってのユージは、後ろめたさを埋めるための道具でしかなかった。
I see. A convenient woman like that is obviously too good to be true. So this is the source of that unease I could never manage to shake. This is why I couldn't get rid of that lingering doubt, always squirming in the back of my mind. I don't know how many women prone to falling in love with virtual strangers. Yeah, I don't know many women prone to falling in love with virtual strangers. Over time, I'd halfway convinced myself Amane was just a special case. And as I suspected from the start, there was something else behind all that.
でもね、こんなこと言っても、きっと信じてくれないと思うけど、私、ユージのこと、本当に好きになっちゃったんだよ。
Yeah, you're right. I wouldn't believe you.
それじゃ、ダメなんだよ。それじゃ、罰じゃなくなっちゃう。気がつけば、収まってた悪夢とか幻覚とか幻聴が、また復活して、みんなが私を責めるんだよ。またお前だ、もっとずっと強い罰が必要なのに、これ以上、ユージを好きになっちゃダメなのに。どんなに好きになっても、私の行く場所にユージを連れてはいけない。私一人で行かなければいけないのに。もう、これで最後にしよう。本当のことを打ち明けて、この人とは別れようって、いつもそう思うのに。
And it took me overhearing people talk at a festival for it to finally come to light.
次の日の朝に目を覚ませば、もう一日だけ、明日になったら別れを切り出そうって思うようになって、いつの間にかずるずると。
Alright, the question is, what is Yuji gonna do?
怖かったんだよ。何度も、あんたのお姉ちゃんを見殺しにしたのは私だよって言おうと思った。そう口にしてしまいたかったのに。でも、それを口にすれば、きっ とユージは私の前からいなくなる。どんなに謝っても、私が見捨てた和樹は生き返らない。だからごめんね。
So, in other words, she went in reluctantly, but now she's pretty much enjoying herself? In the first place, why are Amane's romantic feelings the first thing on my mind here? My sister, my family. All that is just a messy, ugly pain in the ass. In the end, I think I'm much more concerned about what comes next. At times like these, the fundamental strategy is to hear out the woman's story and throw in a few vague responses here and there, but I think I may need to say something pretty soon.
ねえ、ユージ。
Yes?
私を殺してくれない？
Say what?
私はこんなことでしか罰を受けられない。こんなことでしか許しを得られない。
Yeah, I doubt he's gonna kill you.
もうユージに殺してもらうしかないの。ごめんね。
What the hell are you talking about? Have you gone soft in the head? You expect me to kill someone who squeals like a piglet over a single chop to the head? Don't make me laugh.
ごめんね。
Now that's another thing. Stop it with the damn "I'm sorry," will you? I can't stand that phrase. Those are the final words my mother left for me before her suicide. Utterly empty, barren words. Words of surrender. Every time I hear that phrase, I remember myself the way I was. I remember my failure, my inability to act, and my chest throbs painfully. First off, don't try to mimic Kazuki, alright? I only had one sister, and she's gone now. Or what? Do you enjoy ripping open my old scars or something? This "I'm sorry" chorus of yours is putting me in a lousy mood.
ごめん。
I'm telling you to stop that, idiot. I mean, weren't you Kazuki's classmate? Didn't she ever tell you not to say sorry so damn much? Very well then. Allow me to increase your repertoire of phrases, you mush-brained parrot. Repeat after me. Thank you.
ありがとう。
Every time you feel a "sorry" crawling up your throat, change it to "thank you" before it gets out of your mouth. That's your punishment. Don't even think about dropping your apologies on me, arbitrarily deciding you've been forgiven, and flying off into the night. Got that?
私バカだからよくわかんない。どういうこと？
You really are a dim-witted woman, you know that? God damn it. How am I supposed to explain this? Christ, I'm just as dim-witted. Let me think for a while. You're a distraction, woman. Go sit on your heels and reflect on your idiocy. I'm gonna get my thoughts together.
正座で？
Sit! Oh my fucking god. She actually woofed. She fucking woofed like a dog. To be honest, so much got dumped on me at once that my head can't keep up. What am I supposed to think about all this? First, there's Amane's past. Not to put too fine a point on it, but I don't give a shit. From what I read in the diary, she did nothing wrong. Kazuki's decision was understandable. I probably would have done the same thing in her place. If anything, Kazuki's at fault for enjoying that nice heroic death, leaving all the messy, angsty business of surviving to her friend. For one thing, I'm still not fully convinced Kazuki would die as easily as that. But either way, that's not the problem. The past is in the past. The past is the past. Nothing can be done about any of that now. You can spit out as many what-ifs and if-onlys as you want, but unless you're using them as a reference for next time, it's a meaningless exercise. The only thing that matters now is what we do next. Amane! Amane! All said and done, you love me, yes? Confirm or deny? Very well. Sit. Does she have to fucking go woof? Amane says she loves me. So how about my own feelings on the matter? I've thought them over many, many times. I'm pretty damn sure by now. I love Amane. I'm a bit ashamed to say it, but on a purely practical basis, I doubt there's another woman in the world as convenient as her. And again, is that really all there is to it? As I fold my arms in thought, I find my eyes have come to rest on a beautifully folded work uniform. My job is pretty rough on the clothes. They snag on thorny bushes, rip against walls, and drag along the ground. More often than not, I come back with a number of holes in my uniform. It was only a few days ago that I realized those holes were being repaired. Out on a job, I happened to glance at the elbow of my uniform, where a torn seam had been neatly stitched back together. A colleague, noticing as I stared at the careful needlework, asked, "Your wife sewed that up for you?" And the words, "Guess so," slipped out of my mouth. Startled by my own reply, I thought long and hard about what Amane was to me. While wearing the clothes she'd mended for me and stuffing my mouth with the lunch she'd packed for me, I pondered the matter. What about Amane had I fallen in love with anyway? Alright, Yuji's getting all philosophical now. Her looks? True, she was definitely an attractive woman from any angle. The long hair and nice scent didn't hurt either. She accepted everything I did without a word of complaint, and she was up for anything, anytime. But at the end of the day, I don't think that had much to do with it. I can't express it too well, but what really stood out was the way she mended my clothes without a word. And the way she always made a lunch for me. Right. She always did so much for me. Amane worked as hard as she could to make one dull man's life a little less miserable. And it made me happy. Even if Amane had been unbelievably ugly, I would have fallen for her. By the same token, whatever happened in the past, I'm not going to stop loving her. That feeling isn't going anywhere, no matter what. Nothing. Shut your trap. I'm still thinking. Still sitting ramrod straight on her heels, Amane's face droops like a pouting puppy given the command to wait. Studying her comically forlorn expression, I move on to consider the final problem. I could simply tell her, "You're forgiven," on the spot. There's no way that would resolve the issue. If anything, my forgiveness might well inspire her to go looking for a new punishment, driving her to erratic, even dangerous behavior. In that case... Alright, Amane, the matter's been decided. On your feet.
ちょっと待って。足がしびれて。
Right then. I'll help you up. Here.
ありがとう。よいしょっと。それで、私はどうすれば。
I've thought this over pretty carefully, but let me make one thing clear first. I don't intend to take pity on you because of your past. Everyone has a regret or two. It's a natural part of being alive. And that said, I also understand yours is a particularly complicated, painful one. Telling you, forget it, or don't worry about it, would be a waste of breath. Remorse that deep isn't just going to stop tormenting you. You might well end up carrying it on your shoulders for the rest of your life. And this idea that your current good deeds can somehow redeem you for what happened in the past is a load of self-serving crap. You've got no choice but to receive your punishment for the rest of your life. I'm not really old or wise enough to say, that's life, like some sort of authority on the matter. But at the very least, I think I'm better accustomed to living with suffering than you. Therefore, I will now arrogantly throw my conclusion in your face. Accept it gratefully. You asked me to kill you just now, right? Not attached to your life?
私の命が欲しいって言うなら、ユージにあげる。
I see. Alright, I accept. From this moment forth, you're going to live the rest of your life for my sake. It's just some crappy life you picked up off the ground in the mountains, right? Can't be worth that much to you. I'll take it off your hands.
でも...
What now? You have a problem? Too bad. You gave your life to me so I can do whatever the hell I want with it. You have no right to complain.
なんだろう、もうちょっとわかりやすく説明してもらえると嬉しいんだけど。
I see what he's fucking doing. It's pretty obvious what he's doing. Nothing to explain. Nothing's really gonna change. Just keep doing what you're doing. Live for my sake. Devote yourself to me. I'm the king. You're my pet dog. Got it?
変わらないってどういうこと?
You put your life in this man's hands, and he's saying, alright, you're gonna live then. That's your punishment. Your punishment is living. Do whatever I say, and right now I say live. You want to die? I'm denying you that. That's your punishment. You don't get your easy escape. One second. And I'm back. That was really quick. Just people wanting to know where other people were. Do you have a wad of marshmallow fluff for a brain? Fine. I'll put it even more simply and rudely. God damn you! How dare you leave my sister to die? I'll never forgive you. You're my slave for life. Understood? If you understand, bark like a dog, you filthy mutt. Jesus Christ. Amane, stay with me for the rest of your life. That's your punishment.
じゃあさ、もしかして私、ずっとユージのそばにいてもいいの?
Just answered this question. Not only can you, you're going to. I'll smack you silly if you try to disappear on me. Keep that in mind.
Yuji.
What now? Spit it out already. Also, I'm not a submachine gun. Whoops. Okay. I think we finally got through to her. You know something? You always make this ridiculously ugly face when you cry. There. Okay, this is getting annoying already. I'll allow you 5 minutes maximum. If I was nice, it'd hardly be a punishment. As Amane breaks down into tears, I wrap my arms around her and hug her tightly to my chest. There's only one way I can save this woman. And it's not by trying to break the curse of her past. I'll simply accept everything. Knowing her past, knowing her trauma, I'll accept it all. I'll provide her with the punishment she needs. There's no other way. Someday, Amane will surely come to understand. The only person she needs to ask for forgiveness is herself. Until then, I'll be a burden for her to bear. I'll ease her guilt. I'll be her punishment. I'll offer her forgiveness, even if no one else in the world does. No matter what anyone says, I'll give her absolution. If I simply stay by her side, someday her penance will reach its end. I know it will. The day will surely come when Amane can forgive herself. Next day. Well, we got a slave now, I guess. In horrible terms. Even after those revelations, there haven't been any major changes in my life with Amane. The only real differences that come to mind, Amane's calmed down on the physical cleanliness. And I've started to notice subtle shifts in her emotions. From what Sakaki tells me, this has been going on frequently even before now, but when something happy or fun happens, Amane tends to get a slightly brooding look on her face. Now that I understand these signs of her self-reproach and guilt for what they are, I admonish her. You're allowed to smile. Sometimes, I outright order her to do so. And although I know she's still thinking, a cowardly insect like me has no right to be happy, she always manages to give me a sweet, artful smile in response. Amane once told me I had a crappy excuse for a smile, and now I understand why she saw through it so easily. She's a far more experienced master of the forced smile. It might sound like a joke, but it seems like the Takizono Private Academy actually had formal lessons on how to push your face into an elegant smile. Oh, her school. Back then. Kazuki had always been even worse at smiling than I was. Imagining her desperately trying to contort her face into a friendlier simper is absurdly amusing. Hey, Amane, tell me something. That smiling lesson or whatever. I assume Kazuki participated in it as well?
どうだろう。私 D 組だったから A 組の和樹とは授業が一緒になることはなかったし。
Just thinking about it makes you laugh. Kazuki curtsying politely in time to the teacher's piano with a beaming smile on her face. I think I'd pay money to see that.
確かに。っていうか、和樹のそんな姿を見たら逆に笑えないような気もするけどね。
Come to think of it, when Kazuki was still a grade schooler, I did see her practicing her smile once.
え、嘘？和樹が？
Not sure when this was exactly, but Kazuki came to deliver something I'd forgotten to my classroom. A classmate came up to me afterward and asked me about her. Why is your big sister always so cranky, in this kind of scared little voice? Of course, I said. That's just normal for her. When I returned home, I told Kazuki, one of the kids in my class thinks you're kind of scary. Guess it was a little bit of a shock, even for her. She started practicing her smile in front of the mirror after her bath. Funny, right?
そうだね。
You're allowed to smile yourself, you know. Or even laugh.
わかってる。もう笑って話せる時期だってのはわかってるんだけどね。
Smiling is the duty of those who are left behind. Please try.
でも私和樹のことを思い出すとやっぱり。
No good, huh? From reading the contents of Amane's diary, I understand she worshipped Kazuki like a god. Odds are, giving her my standard order to smile now would only worsen her suffering. To be honest, the topic of my sister still stings a bit for me as well. But I guess I've developed my own way of coping with it. Amane, tell me something. Do you really believe Kazuki's dead?
え、それってどういう意味？
Exactly what it sounds like. To be honest, I don't really buy it. Certainly, she's dead on paper, and they did find something that was thought to be Kazuki's corpse at the site. But I just can't believe she died that easily.
それは私だって信じたくはないけど。
I'm gonna get into slightly gruesome territory here. Alright? The corpse of Kazuki they found on the site had been cut to pieces. You know that as well, right?
うん。
But for some reason, they never found her head. What do you think of that? She gave you a hint herself, didn't she? A long time ago, Kazuki told me about a swindle where carefully cutting and pasting 10,000 yen notes into 11 slightly smaller ones. And she showed you a similar trick with 11 carats. Corpses aren't any different. Just as an example, if you happen to have 10 of them lying around, you could probably make 11. Don't you think?
嘘。だってそんなことが人間と人参は違うよ。
You trying to say Kazuki chopped up bodies and made one seem like it was her? Well, I mean, they were eating corpses, so there would be pieces missing. Not to Kazuki, they aren't.
じゃあ、カズキは生きてるの？
I don't know that. If she is alive, why hasn't she shown herself to us? It's all a mystery. But there's one thing I'm confident about. I don't think Kazuki would accept death that easily. And she always did have a number of personalities. Characters she'd play. By now, she may well be casually going about her business somewhere as a totally different person. Can't shake that feeling. At the time, 13 corpses were discovered at the crash site. Many of them had been horribly damaged. But the numbers matched. The investigators didn't have any reason to be suspicious, and the corpses were roughly identifiable. There was no point in DNA testing. Given the dismembered, partially consumed state of many of the bodies, a few missing parts wouldn't have inspired any serious doubts. Okay, so is he really thinking Kazuki managed to fend them all off? Maybe even kill them all? Made it seem like she died as well and then just fucked off somewhere? Where was she gonna go? Amane took all the food. All the real food. It's still sore. And of course, Kazuki's head was never discovered. When they discovered the corpses, they did investigate the cause of death, but there was no DNA testing performed.
カズキが生きている？
No, I'm just saying it's possible to think that way. It's not like I have any real evidence.
でも、カズキは言ったよ。私は死なないって。いつか必ずまた会えるからって。確かに言ってた。
Right, but... Look, Amane, I'm not seriously trying to push this theory on you. All I meant was, thinking Kazuki might still be alive somewhere might help you find the courage to... You're not listening to a word I say, are you? Hold on! Where are you going all of a sudden? Apparently remembering something, Amane dashes off as if stung by a whip. I follow her as she flies up the stairs, throws open the door to her room, and begins rummaging around vigorously in her closet. She still has the fucking bag, doesn't she? The bag of food. Hello? Amane? Amane-san? Anyone home?
あった、これ見て。
Hmm? What's this? Pulling out a storage case that had been carefully tucked away in the back of her closet, Amane takes out a sheath? Probably sheath. Sheath of yellowed memo paper, wrinkled and stained by patches of dried mud. Oh, the paper to get her out of there. Even at a glance, I immediately recognized the familiar handwriting lining those pages. That's Kazuki's writing, isn't it?
そう、それは和樹が私のために用意してくれた密林脱出メモだよ。
I take the leaves of paper, probably ripped out of a small notepad, from Amane's hand. First, there's a rough map of the area around the camp. No doubt a product of Kazuki's independent investigations. She also included a number of methods to ascertain direction within the forest, including orientation by the stars. If your path ahead seems overly difficult, don't hesitate to take a detour. And when you think your physical strength may be failing you, take a rest. Use the time to discard items from your rucksack, beginning with the heavy and inessential. The soil is full of volcanic rock and dense materials, so the tree roots are shallow and twisted. Also, their access to sunlight is irregular. For these reasons, the direction of their growth won't be a reliable navigation tool. Maintaining pressure on your ankles offers some relief from swelling. Wear 2 sets of socks and pull them to your calf. Your lactic acid buildup will be less severe. Just don't expect this to offer much protection against leeches. Oh god. Very methodical. That's Kazuki for you.
でね、ここ見て。
If you fail to escape. Huh.
和樹が残したメモには、脱出に失敗したら居留地に戻ってこいって書いてあって、和樹が非常食を隠した穴の位置が記された地図があったの。
I see. Judging from the fact she wrote these notes, Kazuki might have known from the start there was a good chance she'd be making you escape alone.
きっと和樹はこうなることを予想してたんだと思う。
But what made this come to mind all of a sudden?
あのさ、もしだよ、もし和樹が生きているとしたら、今和樹がどこにいるのかってヒントはここにあると思うんだよね。
You're saying we're gonna go back to that site and find this stashed food supply? That is years old at this point. Might I remind you. Here, at the scene of the accident?
そう。和樹が私に最後に残したものって、きっとこの非常食を埋めた穴の中にあるんじゃないかな。和樹は事故の翌日、シャベルを抱えて一人で森の中に入っていった。あれってバスの中から回収した食料とかを埋めに行ってたんだと思うんだ。和樹は時々一人でふっといなくなることがあって、ずいぶんトイレの近い子なんだなって思ってたけど、多分頻繁にその穴に何かを隠しに行ってたんじゃないかって。
Okay. I see. That sounds like the only realistic possibility of finding any clue that might lead us to Kazuki.
そう。それに、もし和樹が死んでいたとしても、最後の遺品がそこに残されているってこと。
You think they would have searched the area for anything like that, even, any place that was freshly dug up? I guess not, though.
ねえ、ユージ、行ってみない？
Go to the scene? That scene seems... I mean, you...
確かに、まだきついかもしれない。苦しい思い出ばっかり詰まってる場所だしね。
This is where you saw all your friends slowly die.
でも、いつかは克服しなければいけないことだと思うし、それに、ユージが一緒に行ってくれるなら、多分、大丈夫だと思うんだ。
I see.
まあ、ちょっとしたデートだと思ってさ。悪いけど、付き合ってよ。
Yes, a date. Sure. Yeah, alright. Alright, we're just gonna go. The very next morning, we borrowed the mini truck from the school, packed the boxed lunches Amane made, and readied ourselves to set off for the scene of the accident. At first, we planned to go by train, but the nearest station turned out to be more than 10 kilometers away from the mountain. Driving's far more convenient. The plan is to make our way to the site, park in the lot at the foot of the mountain, and walk from there. But fortunately, there's apparently been a memorial erected on the site of the crash, which means a path up the mountain was created as well. We shouldn't have to worry about getting lost. Well, that's good. When we first decided on this trip, I had imagined a grueling hike through the woods. But it turns out the memorial is only 2.8 kilometers from the parking lot at the foot of the mountain. That's not too bad. That's like me going halfway to work, more or less. About 7K to work. It takes 20 minutes on a bike. Hour if I'm walking. We don't need any particularly elaborate plans for the walk itself, but on an emotional level, some preparations are still necessary.
それじゃあ私、お供え用のお花とお線香を買ってくるから、ここで少し待ってて。
Yeah, got it. Parking the mini truck near the Mishima Cape train station, Amane slowly lowers herself out of the driver's seat. Not that it's any surprise, but she seems a little awkward and subdued. Watching Amane walk off with purse in hand, dragging her feet like an exhausted office worker heading off to buy her low-calorie lunch, I heave a little sigh. To be perfectly honest, it's not like I seriously believe Kazuki's alive. And I'm sure it's the same for Amane. If anything, this visit to the scene of her ordeal has more to do with Amane facing her own memories head-on. I don't think this secret stash of Kazuki's is particularly meaningful. My hopes aren't exactly high for some sort of clue. I'm just praying we don't end up digging up something unpleasant. If Kazuki left her last will and testament or something in that hole, Amane might come out of this bearing even deeper wounds than before. Even so, it's been many years since the accident. After all this time, Amane's finally gained the courage to return. And that feels like a significant change. Maybe she'll be able to start coming to terms with what happened. Maybe her burden will grow a little lighter. The point of visiting a grave is to bring comfort to those left behind. That's a firm belief of mine. I might have been a little too lost in thought. I didn't notice the man approaching until he was standing immediately behind me.
Kazami Yuji-san desu yo ne.
Who the fuck are you? Yes? The man seemed to pop up out of nowhere. Concealing my surprise, I turned slowly to face him. Is this just some other guy hired to attack us? Like when we were out with fucking, Machina? I still want to know what that was about. We kinda got no conclusion to that. Did he just call me by my name? I'm not famous enough to be recognized by random strangers on the street. I carefully observe his face, then look over his clothing from head to toe with a single sweep of my eyes. man with a light build, most likely in his mid-40s. I don't recognize the face. Even though it's the middle of summer, he's wearing a windbreaker jacket, as though headed out on a fishing trip. He's got a hunting cap on top of his noticeably graying hair, and a beat-up pair of long boots on his feet. On the whole, he leaves a pretty shabby impression. But the cologne he's wearing isn't cheap, and the glasses on his face are a first-class name brand. Who the fuck is this guy? I don't remember him as a local shop owner or anything, but if he's just some tourist come to fish in the sea, it makes no sense that he'd know my name. Excuse me, but who are you?
おっとっと、ですよね。これは失礼。私は坂下と申しましてね。Amaneさんの大ファンなんですよ。
Sakashita? Is he related to Captain Sakashita? Amane's?
最近なんですか。Amaneさんに彼氏ができたと小耳に挟みましてね。一度お会いしてみたいなと思っておったのですよ。
Why would you be a fan of her? Are you a stalker? You came here just to meet me?
いえいえいえいえ。今日ここでお会いしたのは偶然なんですけどね。たまたまAmaneさんとご一緒のところをお見かけしたもので、なぜか妙に嬉しくなってしまいましてね。
Okay.
ついお声をかけさせていただいたと、そういうことでして、はい。
I don't trust this guy. Is that so? That's a load of crap. The story's dubious enough, but my intuition's telling me there's something insincere about the man. For one thing, he's forcing his face into a smile by jerking up the edges of his mouth. For another, his eyes are dark and cold, and there's a strange, superficial gleam floating on the surface. They resemble two deep wells of oil. The man stinks. His body odor is normal enough, but something about him stinks. It's a familiar, unpleasant smell that makes the back of my nose tingle ominously. The scent of bloodlust tinged with madness. Is this man gonna want to kill Amane? Now that he knows where she is. We're not gonna run into this fucker, are we, later? Please don't. We've already been through one emotional thing. I don't need another. I don't need to fucking, like, fight for our lives. Pardon me, but what do you do for a living?
まあ、こんな身なりですからね。わからんのも無理もない話ですな。ええ、実はつい最近まで IT 関連の会社の取締役をしてたのですが、どうにも生きがいというものをなくしてしまいましてね。急に仕事がバカらしくなったとでも言いますか。今はご覧の通り恥ずかしながら無職の身でしてね。
Okay. I see. Who is he? At the very least, he doesn't seem to be involved in my line of work. The face isn't familiar, but more importantly, he holds himself far too loosely for a pro. Even the Langley suits who spend most of their time behind desks project a little more menace than this.
それでもね、会社を畳んでみて初めて分かったことというものもありましてね。真っ白だった私の頭の中にぽつりと目標のようなものが浮かんできたんですわ。 目標なんて言ったら少し大げさかもしれませんね。
I don't trust you, old man. Also, I'm gonna be right back. Nature calls, so BRB. There we go. Sorry about that. I also want to get a diffuser going in our laundry room with peppermint in it. Remember that rat or whatever the hell I had up in my thing? I haven't heard it for a few days. I haven't had the diffuser going for a few days. I think it might have died in the ceiling. So I'm getting kind of a whiff of something throughout, which is... ugh. I'll be honest, I've smelt that kind of smell before when we had another mouse kind of die in a wall. That was easy to get rid of, though, at least. It was partially unfinished wall with just kind of siding somewhat lightly stapled in. But now that everything's all nice and sealed up, we can't exactly get up there. So if it did die up there, we just literally have to wait out the smell, which sucks ass. Ugh. Fucking animal's gonna die in the worst places possible. But hey, no more scratching and something running. But like, it's just like, are you fucking kidding me? Now you die in the rafters and you're gonna smell? Like, ugh, piece of shit.
なんと言いますかね。やり残したことがまだあったんだなって気がついたんですよ。
So it looks like restarting my computer worked, because the bitrate has been fine this whole time. But hey, now that I've said it, I've probably jinxed it. Are you feeling alright?
ん？何がでしょう。ああ、そうか。時間ですか。私は暇ですが、そうですね。いきなりこんな話を聞かされても退屈ですよね。すみません。
Not at all.
それじゃ、私はこれで失礼します。くだらない話に付き合わせてしまって、どうもすみませんでした。
The man abruptly turns around and walks right off, his small, hunched back unsteadily swaying back and forth. I watch him as he goes, but all of a sudden, he seems to have disappeared into thin air. What the? The sound of his footsteps, the faint smell of his cologne, the sight of his hunting cap weaving forward? I can't pick up any trace of the man. He's melted into the low buzz of the station streets, as if he was never here in the first place. Wasn't a ghost, was he? Of course, I don't really believe in any such thing. But that sudden appearance and equally abrupt exit were about as ghostly as it gets.
Oh,
welcome back.
何？どうかしたの？
No, it's nothing. This weird old man just struck up a conversation, that's all.
変なおっさん？誰？
Don't know. Kind of a creepy one, though. There's no doubt in my mind he's an amateur. But I can't get over the gleam of madness in those eyes. I've seen that gleam before. Those are the eyes of a man who's thrown away everything. The eyes of a man who's fixated himself on one goal, abandoning all for the sake of his country, comrades, or family. The crazed eyes of a fanatic. Amane, he called himself your fan. Anyone come to mind?
自慢じゃないけど、私中年には結構モテるからな。誰だろう。
I have a bad feeling about this.
何？そんなに変な人だったの？
It was like talking to a grim reaper in human form. I've got this sickening tingle in my chest.
やだ、ちょっと大丈夫？
I've experienced something like this before. I don't know when exactly. Probably in early childhood. It's a vague memory that my mind doesn't want to remember too clearly. A dark, unpleasant memory, locked away for many years, suddenly oozes out from a crack in the wall. The old man, huh? I close my eyes slowly as the sensation of cold perspiration grows in my armpits. Trickles of salty sweat roll down my forehead and over my closed eyelids. My hands are clenched tightly into clammy fists. It takes conscious effort to keep my knees from trembling. It's been a while since I remembered. A while since something triggered this psychological trauma.
ユージ、本当に大丈夫？なんかすごい汗だ
What
よ。
the fuck has got you going now? Yeah. I'm fine.
どうする？今日はもうやめにして帰ろうか？
I don't know if that's the right move. No. You finally managed to make up your mind to do this. Let's go. The madness I sensed in that man. Was it just a figment of my imagination? Did the scent of that cologne revive buried memories of my father in my unconscious mind, leading me into a paranoid post-traumatic delusion? Whatever the case, at the moment, I just want to put as much distance between me and him as possible. Our destination is about 2.5 hours away from Mishima Cape by highway. I'll admit I'm a little unease. I'll admit to a little unease at letting Amane take the wheel. Wow, can't read, Baron. Good job. It'd be difficult to complain, given her obvious technical skill as a driver. The mini truck accelerates smoothly as we pull into the fast lane, its 4-cylinder engine purring.
しまったな。タイヤの空気圧低かったかな。高架のジョイントで少しお尻振るね。
Well, yeah, since we don't have a load in the back.
どうしよう。次のサービスエリアで止まってエアの調節しようか。
Hardly necessary. Any more pressure and it'll ride rough once we're off the highway. Just turn the wheel into the sway and keep our weight evenly distributed. Focus on directing the rear driver's side tire and we shouldn't fishtail.
うん、ちょい踏み気味ってことかな。こんな感じ？
Right, like you're gently turning onto an exit.
ああ、なるほどね。雪道の要領か。面圧の均等分配ね。人間トルクスプリッターだ。
You lost me now. In any case, all I'm saying is, we got 4 tires on this thing, so make good use of all of them.
難しいことを簡単に言ってくれるよね。私の場合、さらっとやってるように見えるけど、結構大変なんだよ、それ。
I do, but I also know what you can do. I wouldn't have said that to just anybody. What?
なんかさ、やっぱユージって和樹の弟だよね。
What's that supposed to mean?
なんかさ、うまく言えないけど、やっぱ似てるんだよ。和樹もユージも。
Can't deny it. In a lot of ways, Kazuki raised me more than my parents did.
そっか。
Don't get so transparently depressed at every little thing I say, will you? I don't want to tiptoe around trying to be tactful. It's a pain in the ass.
はっきり言うな。
Kazuki isn't as delicate as a subject for me as you seem to think. Not that I can completely laugh it off, but there's no need to get gravely serious every time I mention her name. And for what it's worth, I'm not trying to torture you about her death either.
でも。
Yeah, I know. When you want me to bully you, just say the word. I'll play along, unless I have something better to do with my time.
そういう意地の悪い言い方、ほんと似てるな。
Don't laugh at me, woman. This is as much as I can do. I push and pull Amane around, keep her hands so full that she doesn't even have time to get depressed. And in her darkest moments, I scold her outright. You got a responsibility to live for my sake. won't allow you to run away from it. That's all I can do for her, but I believe it'll be enough. I believe she'll be safe someday. I have to believe that. But for now, Amane still recoils from happiness, sinking into strong depression at the best of times. If the weight grows too heavy for her to bear, she tugs on my sleeve so that no one else can see, then whispers into my ear. Always the same words. Hey, bully me. I need my punishment for the day. Please? Tormented and teased, she finds the peace of mind that eludes her in moments of gentle kindness. I've accepted Amane in that strange, contradictory jumble of emotions, just as she's accepted me. We'll work through them together from now on. I don't know how many years that will take. If things go badly, Amane might be like this for the rest of her life. But as long as I'm able to tag along, I will.
何思い出し笑い
No. Just kind of amusing myself, thinking seriously about the future and all that.
何それ将来ぐらい誰だって考えるでしょ
I guess so. Everyone does, don't they? Sooner or later, everything that lives reaches the same future. In other words, death. I've imagined mine a number of times. No, imagine might not be the right word. I've brushed against a very real possibility of death a number of times, implanting the awareness that I might well lose my life this way in my mind. And in those visions, I always died alone, without exception. I leave the world with all the dignity of a stray dog in a ditch. No one grieves. No one gets a phone call. My corpse is disposed of in a businesslike manner, and that's that. That's how I'd always seen it playing out. For a long time, I scrapped my way through life, unable to consider even my own path. Now I'm seriously thinking about the future for the sake of a single woman. If that's not laughable, what is?
ねえユージはさ将来どうするつもり
That's an amazingly vague question. What are you asking me specifically?
だからずっと私のそばにいてくれるんだよね
Ah, I get it. You want me to propose?
まあそうなんだけどさねユージ寮に帰ったら辞書でデリカシーって言葉について調べた方がいいよ
Oh my god. Of course, I'm thinking about marriage as well. Since I've been living pretty selfishly and irresponsibly up until now, it's honestly kind of difficult to even imagine. I've never lived the sort of life I could tell others about with pride. I'm pretty sure the idea of leaving any trace of my passing through this world has always repelled me. Repelled me. I didn't want to get married, much less have kids. I didn't want to take on anything that would be left behind after my death. Learn to read, Baron. Same reason I've never owned more property than I can carry on my back. I'm starting to think that, for Amane's sake, I'd be willing to throw that lightness away. So, I run smack into a logistical problem. And of course, I'm referring to my job. Amane, the truth is, I'm currently at something of a loss. After another 1.5 years of my job, my field term's up. Should I renew my contract, spend a year as an instructor while sitting exams and aim for promotion? Or should I resign, become a permanent reserve and look for other work? Which would you prefer?
って言われてもな、どう違うの?
The biggest difference would be the level of danger. If I renew my contract and get promoted, my risk will go way down. But that also means my total salary will drop sharply. Whereas if I become a reserve member, I'll be able to take on a day job, so my earnings depend on my abilities. But when called back for emergency service, my jobs won't be any less dangerous than they are now.
だったら、私は安全な方がいいな。
But you know, even if I renew the contract, it's gonna be difficult for me to move up the ranks, since I didn't attend a specialized school. It'd probably take me 10 years to make assistant section chief. And getting any further would be harder still. Maybe even impossible. My base salary today is 187,300 yen a month. Okay, so he makes almost 2,000 bucks a month. Promoted, 233,600. Even if I work until retirement age, maybe 449,100. It's not impossible to get by on when you add in benefits and bonuses, but...
お給料の金額ってもう決まっちゃってるの?
Right. Our company's got a pay scale, so the salary corresponds to every rank it is clearly defined. I mean, that's how like the military works. You have a certain pay grade for every rank you're at. You don't just get here's a raise. It's you're this rank, so you get this much money per for like every paycheck or pay month or however it actually works. They probably get paid monthly. That's how it is. It's like, oh, you're a private, you get this much. Oh, you're a sergeant, you get this much. Now when you get into the officer ranks, that's when you get some more money. But despite what people think, you can't do something... Technically, there's no natural path for you to go from something like a sergeant up to something like a captain. Those are two totally separate ranking systems. One is non-commissioned, one is commissioned officers. There's a total difference. There's a huge difference. Really, officers, like lieutenants and whatnot, generally, at least from my experience, handled more of the, like, paperwork and logistical side of things. While the non-commissioned officers, like the sergeants and whatnot, do the more hands-on stuff. Generally. Somewhat. At least from my experiences. From being, like, in a somewhat military-adjacent youth program.
でも、危ない仕事はしなくていいんでしょ?
For the moment, at least. That's also dependent on circumstances. If an emergency develops and some big shot says, "Protect me, even if it costs your life," I wouldn't be able to disobey.
嫌だって言えないの?
Well, you can try. But when your superiors say, "Volunteers, step forward," hanging back isn't really an option. When you get right down to it, that's what they're paying us for. But then again, if I die on the job as a formal employee, there'd apparently be 100 million yen payout to my family. Damn, $1,000,000.
そういう問題じゃないと思う。
If I become a permanent reserve instead, I'll still be called up for emergencies. But operating under the table, I can work a little more flexibly. In other words, I'd be able to play dirty behind the scenes without anyone complaining. I might be able to pull through serious crises through skill and craftiness. Not an option for a normal employee.
結局どっちが安全なの？
As long as there aren't any dramatic upheavals in the world, renewing the contract and becoming a regular employee carries less risk. But in the case of large-scale emergency, being a reserve would be comparatively safer.
微妙。ユージはどうしたいの？
All things considered, I'd want to become a permanent reserve and look for another job. If we get married and start a family, I want to be able to tell my kid what daddy's job is.
あ、そこまで考えてるんだ。
Don't sound so surprised. Just whose fault do you think that is? A little while ago, I wasn't thinking more than a day or two ahead at most.
それっていいことなんだよね。
Probably, yeah.
私はユージの決めた方で構わないよ。契約更新してお給料が安くても私も働けばいいことだし、他の仕事に就きたいならそれでも構わない。
Even on permanent reserve, they're gonna keep me on a short leash for 5 years. I'd need to apply in advance to move into a new home or travel abroad. And I won't be free to pick any job I want either.
それでも他の仕事がいいんでしょ？大丈夫。仕事が見つからなかったら2人で長距離トラックの運転手でもやろうよ。
Would you seriously be okay with that?
いいんじゃない？私タイヤのついてる乗り物大好きだし、意外と似合うと思うな。
Well, come to think of it, I do have a lead on a job, I guess. Not that anything's been settled yet, but the principal floated the idea of taking me on at Mihama.
え、先生になるってこと？
Oh yeah, that was something very briefly brought up. We thought about getting really serious with Amane. She did offer a job. Nothing's decided yet.
でも何の先生になるの？あ、そっか。うちって体育の先生いないよね。体育の先生は？
Yeah, you could be the gym teacher from hell. Like I keep trying to tell you, nothing's decided yet.
でもそれすごくいいと思うよ。さっきの子供の話じゃないけどさ、パパは先生ですってすっごくわかりやすいんじゃない？
Yeah, guess so.
そうか、そうだよね。結婚か。
I was planning to introduce myself to your family pretty soon, but marriage would be a ways off yet. Have to get a job first, at the very least.
そうだね。それでも嬉しいな。なんだろう、なんか急に生きる希望、そんなのが見えてきた感じ。
This is actually kind of adorable. That's a good thing. Optimism, if you put it nicely. Wishful thinking, if you don't. I think it was Kazuki who told me they're both manifestations of a psychological self-defense mechanism that keeps us from committing suicide. Jesus Christ. But whichever this is, I'll take it. I don't think daydreams and theoretical scenarios are going to save Amane, but that's not a bad place to start. We arrived at the parking lot beside the mountain a little after 10, slightly behind schedule. Since we didn't know where the trail up the mountain began, we stopped into a diner and asked around. But apparently, the crash site has become somewhat popular among local kids as a haunted spot. So the answer we received was, "What, you too?" and a judgmental glare. After we explained that I'm a bereaved family member, they finally pointed us toward the unmarked entrance. The utterly deserted path up the mountain had a gentler incline than I'd expected. The locals rarely set foot in here, and the trickle of visitors has slowed over the years, so the trail is neglected and overgrown. By now, it's been halfway reclaimed by the primeval forest. Not too far beyond this tangled jungle, we glimpsed a private golf club with neatly manicured grounds, but on this hike, our scenery consists of bristly waist-high grasses swaying in the breeze, trees sticking out of the harsh soil at odd angles, and the slanting, rocky path ahead. That surprisingly gentle incline didn't last long either. 10 minutes into the forest, the slope quickly grew intense. Thanks to the vigorous exercise and high humidity, my back's quickly soaked in unpleasant sweat. Noticing that Amane has begun to lag behind, I come to a halt and turn around to face her. "You alright, Amane?"
大丈夫。当時に比べれば全然歩きやすいし。
Because you're not malnutrition this time. Not malnourished, that's the word I'm looking for. The path's fairly wide. Probably cut through the forest with the installation of the memorial stone in mind. But even so, now and again we run into steep stretches of rock that we're forced to scramble up on hands and knees. Since we're not pushing through thick grasses as we go, it must be significantly better than it was for Amane back then. But it's decidedly not an easy stroll.
こんな道があの当時にもあればね。
No use saying that now, of course. Deciding to interpret Amane's words as a monologue, I turn without comment and once again push forward on the rough mountain path. The further we advance, the twistier the road grows, the more frequent and severe its ups and downs. Just as an experiment, I take out my M2 compass and open the lid. At a glance, the magnetic needle seems to be pointing north. Maybe dry compasses are harder to influence? But having finished sighting, I lower the compass to chest level, and the needle immediately begins to shake. And when I place the compass on the ground itself as a test, the needle swings dramatically and fixes itself in a completely impossible direction. I take out my phone and flip on the GPS, as if to say, well, how about this? But while the latitude and longitude display accurately, the mapping gets me nothing but a no signal message. I see. This is rough. I'm standing on a well-defined trail right now, so I don't feel any anxiety. But a quick visual survey of the surrounding area reveals nothing else that could serve as a landmark. Without this path, glancing over your shoulder for a moment would probably be enough to completely throw off your orientation. Where a powerful blizzard may create a temporary whiteout, a jungle this dense produces a permanent greenout. We've spent maybe 3 hours now hiking up the mountain. It's been 30 minutes since our third short breather. I'm just about to suggest taking a second longer break when I notice Amane's grown extremely quiet. The look in her eyes suggests we've reached familiar scenery.
多分こっち。
Letting Amane take point, I follow a little ways behind. Before long, we arrived in a gaping rocky ravine, surrounded on all sides by overhanging trees.
ここは
There it is.
あの当地とほとんど変わってないんだね。
The rusted, ruined bus is still laying where it fell 6 years ago. Most likely, it was simply impossible to remove it from this place.
そっか。あっちの方向に進めば3時間ぐらいで道路に出られたんだね。
If you had a trail leading right to it. Even when aiming directly for a clear landmark, it's often impossible to keep yourself traveling in a straight line through a dense forest. You have to take so many detours to avoid obstacles that your direction will eventually be thrown off. In my company, new employees receive compass-based navigation instruction as part of their final training. After mastering basic compass operation, the final part of this little course involves throwing the newbies into a dense jungle with only a rough handwritten map and absurdly demanding they find their way to a specific spot. Given a halfway adequate path, it wouldn't even be a challenging hike. But in a primeval forest without even animal trails, it's no joke. In the end, the majority lose their way and give up. And these are adults who've just spent a number of days learning how to orient themselves under difficult conditions. In some cases, they'll spend a good 4 hours or so hiking through the woods with the crude map in one hand, only to find themselves back where they started, the instructor sneering, "What's wrong? Forget something?" If anything, he did a hell of a job finding a way out of this place at all.
多分私が脱出できたのは偶然みたいなものなんだと思うよ。本当にこっちで合ってるのかなって私自身半信半疑で歩いてたし。それでも和樹の言う通りにしていればきっと助かるって信じていたから。
As she spoke, Amane's downcast eyes fixed on the dignified, striking granite cenotaph standing before us. It seemed to have been a while since the last visitor. The flowers placed before the monument are thoroughly withered, and the offering of drinks and cakes have clearly been battered by the elements. And after cleaning them away, Amane silently places the bouquet and snacks she bought in Mishima Cape on the table and set up for offerings. Oh my god, I can't read. Then sets up and lights her incense sticks.
みんな来るのが遅くなってごめんね。
Crouching down in front of the stone, Amane shuts her eyes and brings her hands together.
正直私はまだみんなのことが怖いよ。
Understandably so. The last time you saw them, they were trying to kill you and presumably eat you.
でも逃げてるだけじゃどうしようもないから私もう逃げるのをやめるよ。私が逃げ出した後みんながここでどうなったのかはわからないけどきっと楽な死に方はできなかったんだよね。みんな死んじゃったのに私だけ生き残って許してなんて言えない。許されようなんて思うこと自体がずうずうしいことだって分かってる。だからもう謝らないよ私。その代わりこれからはずっとお礼を言うよ。みんなありがとう。
Amane is praying with an earnest, intent look on her face, but I can't think of anything to say to the monument. It's just a stone in the end. I know Kazuki's not in there, but it's not that I'm stubbornly clinging to that cold realism. I simply can't find the words to speak to my sister. I've never been able to handle this sort of thing very well. Years ago, when my American classmate, Daniel Vaughn, died on the job, and I rushed over to his funeral, it was the same. Staring at Danny's coffin, wrapped up in the stars and stripes, I found myself at a loss. Hey, Danny. You're kidding, right? The first Marine's Iron Man couldn't possibly have died, right? You're just gonna pop out of that thing and yell, "Hey, shorty, something wrong?" With that shit-eating grin on your face, right? Stop with the crappy jokes, Danny. Those were the only words that popped into my head. No words can reach the dead. If you want to talk about something, talk about the reason they're gone. No matter how we feel about the matter, people die all too easily when the circumstances demand it. Seeking the reason for the death of Kazuki and the others, I once asked JB for copies of the investigation reports. Years ago now. Unexpectedly, the documents indicated most had died of acute digestive diseases. Specifically, orally transmitted infections, mainly colitis and hepatitis. The investigators conjectured the group had died in rapid succession, perhaps 2 to 4 days after symptoms first emerged. The source of the infections was almost certainly the bushmeat they'd added to their diet. Was the origin of their illness the dog they'd eaten after its death from sickness? Or perhaps...
みんなをバラバラにしたのは誰なんだろうね。
Right. Yes, the corpses discovered in this place had all been severely mutilated, with the lone exception of Yoshihiko Ochi, the club's advisor. He chopped them all up? That disturbing scene dominated coverage of the accident, overwhelming the truths through sheer spectacle. The phrase, dismemberment murders, took on a life of its own. Ultimately leading to public suspicion that the sole survivor might have been the criminal responsible for leaving those gruesome corpses behind. But take a half-serious look at the results of the investigation, and you'd see the autopsy suggested the bodies had been cut apart only after death. And since Amane had escaped from the valley before the estimated times of death for most of the corpses, it was simple enough to surmise she could be responsible for their mutilation. There were plenty of whispers and internet rumors suggesting that Amane must have deceived the investigators about the timing of her escape. But in any event, this was received by the authorities as the speculation it was, and the potential case against her was never pushed for insufficient evidence. The next target of the buzzard's innuendo and slander was Yoshihiko Ochi, recorded in the report as the only corpse among 13 discovered intact. After all, a mass murder of female students by their own teacher is even more attractive storyline for the classless scum of the world. Since it had a stronger tinge of scandal than the alternative, the media leapt onto this new theory with all the enthusiasm of a dog throwing red meat, adding in insinuations of sexual assault towards his pupils just for spice. With their slander, they tore apart Ochi's starved, pitiful corpse far more cruelly than any knife could have. In consideration of the extreme extenuating circumstances, no posthumous charges were ever filed against Ochi. But much like the lone surviving girl, society presumed him guilty. Who cut them up isn't the problem. To keep history from repeating itself, the only thing that matters is understanding why.
でもそれだけじゃ面白くないんだろうね。 と。
The hell's wrong with this country anyway? Maybe I don't have the right to complain, as someone who was born and raised in Japan and never tried to change a thing about it. But I've also seen this country from an outside perspective, and it routinely makes me sigh in disgust. Wherever you go, people are fundamentally no better than they are anywhere else. I know that rationally, and I've experienced this many times, but it always brings on a nauseating surge of bitterness. I'm fully prepared to die the unappreciated death of a stray dog. Still, every time I feel this familiar wave of disappointment, I can't help but wonder what I've been crawling through the mud for. It makes me want to vomit. God damn. Yeah. Really a fucking cynic he is, clearly. I'm gonna try to keep going. I feel like I'm nearing the end. And I want to make next week like a whole bunch of other stuff that isn't my normally scheduled thing. So if I could finish this off, that'd be great. Amane? Are you done yet? I'm starting to feel a little sick to my stomach.
ありがとう、付き合ってくれて。大丈夫？
Yeah. But I don't want to hang around this place longer than necessary. Let's dig up whatever Kazuki buried and get out of here.
でも何が入ってるんだろうね。ちょっと見るのが怖いよ。
Reasonable enough. There's no telling what's gonna come out of that hole. Even Kazuki's last will and testament might not be so bad on the scale of possibilities. Considering the circumstances back then, if by any chance we were to dig up her decapitated head, even understanding that idea is absurd, I learned a long time ago not to put anything past Kazuki, even the physically impossible. Kazuki, huh? For a long time, I'd almost never spoken my sister's name, but lately it's been different. On the black cenotaph, presumably built by the families of the victims, that name was listed with all the others. The names of the 13 who died in this place. Kaneda Saya, Komori Megumi, Hiroka Tamaki, Sakurai Mifuyu, Shikanai Tsukasa, Ozawa Yoko, Okabe Tomoe, Sakuma Minori, Ibuki Haruna, Kazumi Kazuki, Ochi Yoshihiko, Koide Ritsu, Sakashida Chiaki. As I run my eyes across the list engraved into the smooth stone, something catches my attention. Sakashida Chiaki? That name. Hold on.
おっとっとですよね。これは失礼。私は坂下と申しましてね。天音さんの大ファンなんですよ。
Okay, you put it together. Could it be a coincidence? No, that's...
ユージ？どうしたの？気分でも悪いの？
Quiet! What is this? There's something unpleasant in the air. It's too quiet. Not even a bird singing. As the trees rustle in the wind, I finally pick up the scent of a familiar, menacing presence. My breath catches in my throat. Oh my god, this guy's here to kill Amane, isn't he? In an open, rocky clearing with little in the way of shelter, I've caught the murderous scent of an enemy. Amane, get down! Reacting instantly, I leap to push Amane aside, shielding her with my body. But before we hit the ground, there's a violent thrust against my right shoulder from behind. Gah! Holy fuck, this dude's gonna shoot her. In the next split second, the shattering sound of a gunshot rings off the cliffs and soaks into the trees above, rattling my eardrums. The next thing I hear is a dull thump. By the time I realize it was the sound of my head striking a rock on the ground, my consciousness is already sinking into profound darkness.
Yuji!
Are you kidding me? This man's trying to shoot Amane?
まさか気づかれるとは驚いたな。まるで野生動物みたいに勘のいい男だね。
Just got like a fucking shotgun.
あなたは一体何を？
はい、どうも。周防天音さん。お会いするのは初めてだったかな。私はね、坂下千秋の父親で、坂下刑事と申します。
So his company went under, he's going mad from losing his job and figured might as well kill this girl?
天音さんにおかれましてはお元気そうで何よりです。はい。
坂下部長の。
ええ、そうですよ。あなたが見殺しにした。いや、あなたが殺した坂下千秋の父親です。ああ、かわいそうな千秋。なんでこんなことになっちゃったんでしょうね。
Hey, this went from, well, you know, like 0 to 100 really fucking fast.
これが運命だっていうなら、あまりにも残酷で、もうね、神を恨む思いですよね。でもほら、なんて言うんでしょうかね。神とかってね。
This guy's lost his
人の弱
marbles.
さが生み出した概念的なものっていうか、ねえ、実体のないものを憎んでもね。で、まあ私は思うわけですよ。何かこう、存在としてのありがたみとでも言いますか、この手で触れることのできる対象と言いますか。
Oh my god, this fucking guy. Are you kidding me right now? Ugh. Of course. Shoot your fucking... My eyes. What's this? That. Yeah, we're about to be real later. Catching up on messages. So this man lost his job and figured, you know what, I got nothing left to live for. How about I hunt down the girl I blame for my daughter's death and just shoot her with a shotgun? I'm gonna assume after he does that, he's just gonna take the thing and do it to himself. Oh my god. So he followed us all the way from Mishima Cape. So he followed us all the way from there, somehow staying out of sight for this long? Especially up that trail? It took him 3 hours to walk that trail.
わかりますかね。
ユージ。
動くなー、ボケ。私の話の途中でしょうが。聞きなさいよ。最近の若いやつはどいつもこいつもてめえのことしか考えやがらねえ。救いようのないクズだが。おい。
Dude, you shot him in the fucking shoulder. Piss off.
まったくもう、まったくどいつもこいつもまったく動くなよ。今弾入れ替えるから。
Shit.
ユージ。
Yeah. I'm alright. Although I reflexively offered reassurance, fact of the matter is, nothing about this situation is remotely alright. All well and good that I sensed the sharp murderous aura in time to pull Amane down, but I didn't manage to completely escape the widely scattered buckshot. Oh my god, he's coming at him with buckshot? Jesus Christ! He's gonna shred their... Oh my god, he's gonna shred their bodies with that shit. It felt as though an enormous stone had smashed into my right shoulder. The blood flowing from my wound quickly grows cold against my back, gluing my shirt to my body. But considering the amount of blood, the flow doesn't seem that intense. I probably got a number of small pellets lodged into my shoulder. The wound's not going to prove fatal in the short term, but when I try to pull myself up off the ground, my back screams with pain. Oh my god. I try to find a less painful way to move, twisting my body like a caterpillar, but it's a wasted effort. That first huge stab of pain has all but paralyzed my body. Keeping still is about the only way I'm able to maintain my composure. How about the fact she was boinking the teacher and eating people? Having finished reloading shells into his break-action vertical double-barreled shotgun, Sakashida mumbles these words to himself in an oddly calm tone of voice, staring into space. Observing his suddenly placid behavior, my throbbing heartbeats slowly begins to settle down. At the very least, it seems he doesn't intend to kill us immediately. Sending Amane a small signal to wait for now with a flick of my eyes, I quietly settle back to watch and wait.
千秋はね、私が30の頃に授かった娘でね、親の勧めもあって26で結婚した私が愛してもいない妻と苦労して作った娘なんですよ。正直ね、子供なんて欲しくはなかったんですよね。でもね、老いた両親に熱望されてしまえば無下に断るわけにもいかない家系でしてね。私の父は戦後の混乱期に不動産で財を成した資産家でしてね。私は父のそんな火事場泥棒まがいの商売を継ぐのが嫌でよく反発しては生意気を言うなと殴られたものですよ。おっと、違うな。娘の話でしたよね。
Oh my god.
まあね、そんな毛嫌いしていた父親の勧めで地方銀行の頭取の娘を嫁にもらったのが26。見てくればっかり気にして夫をまるで下男でも見るような目で見るクズ女でしたが、なんとかこう仕込むことに成功しましたよ。
Okay, yeah, I mean... Up and dump. Okay, granted, it's not easy for some people to actually have a kid, but still. Somehow or other, I managed to succeed. I mean, if you want to give her a child, you had to fuck her. At the very least, once.
そこで生まれてきたのが千秋です。名前を付けたのは私です。いえ、名前に深い意味はありません。生まれたのが10月、つまり秋で、千の幸あれと適当につけた名前ですよ。でもね、不思議なものですよね。いざ生まれてみると、これがもう可愛くて仕方がないんですよ。
Lovely. The hell's that got to do with us? The words almost emerge from my mouth, but I bite my tongue. Right now, we're powerless. Our eyes fixed on the hunting shotgun in Sakashita's hands. Amane and I can do nothing but listen to his words. Apparently pleased by our submissive attitudes, Sakashita continues his monologue in a relaxed, easy tone of voice.
生まれた経緯はどうであれ、私にはとても大切な、自分の分身とも言えるほどに大切な子だったのですよ、千秋は。そんな千秋がですよ。合宿の帰りに行方不明になったと聞かされた時の私の驚きが想像できますか？もちろんすぐに探してくれと依頼しましたよ。ヘリを含め1日に70万円かかると言われた捜索費も全て私が負担しました。
Damn.
ところが2週間経っても見つからない。まさかこんな場所で移動経路の予定にないこんな旧道の外れでバスごと滑落したとは誰も予想していなかったんですよ。もちろん私も思ってもみませんでしたし、ことによると同国に拉致されたのではとすら思っていたのですから、随分と的外れな場所ばかりを探していたのでしょうね。
Now instead she was fucking the teacher and eating people.
そして周りの誰もが諦めかけた頃、あなたがたった一人で生還しました。もちろん捜索隊を再編成し、すぐに救助に向かわせましたが、
Yeah, clearly.
間に合わなかった。回収された千秋の亡骸は8つに分断されていました。まさに八つ咲きというやつです。私はね、まるで自分の身を裂かれたような思いですよ。泣きましたとも。
I mean, understandable?
収容先の病院で白いシーツをかけられた千秋にすがりつくようにして年がいもなく大声を上げて泣きました。なんて運のない子だろう。できれば変わってやりたかったと、そう思うことで私も一時は納得したのです。ところがね、娘を亡くしてからというもの、どうやら私も運に見放されてしまったようでしてね。何を仕事はもちろん家庭もうまくいかず、妻には離婚され、年老いていた私の父も他界、母も父の後を追うようにして半年後に他界しました。もしかしたら千秋がおじいちゃんとおばあちゃんを迎えに来たのかもしれません。千秋は見えて甘えん坊な部分がありましてね。祖父も祖母も大好きだったんですよ。それから4年、私も千秋の迎えを待ちながら頑張って生きてきたのですがね、ダメでした。何もかもがダメでした。仕事もうまくいかず、負債ばかりが増え、気がつけば幹部社員の何人かが同時に退社を申し出てきました。そうなってしまえばもう会社を畳むしかありません。娘を失い、両親を亡くし、妻と社員に逃げられ、会社もなくした。 私にはもう残っているのは借金ぐらいのものですよ。
So you figured I don't want to live with this debt or anything. I will end my life, but before I do, I will kill the girl who I blame for my daughter's death.
さて、これから何をすればいいのか。私の頭の中は真っ白ですよ。どうすれば。そんな時でした。とある情報筋と言いますか、娘の元同級生から私のもとに連絡が入りましてね。その子が言うには、三島崎駅前のお祭りで周防天音を見かけたって言うんですよ。ああ、そういえば我々の前から逃げるようにして忽然と姿を消した周防天音さんの情報に以前私は賞金をかけたななんて思い出しましてね。忘れかけていたところにふっと思い出したあなたの名前に、私はね、そう、運命のようなものを感じたんですよ。
Destiny.
こうね、真っ白だった頭の中にね、ぽっかりと浮かんできたんですよ。自分が何をしたらいいのか、何をやり残していたのか、明確にね。
That's the reason you attacked us?
はい、そうです。これは復讐と言いますか、制裁です。はい。
Oh my god. Retribution? Are you serious? Confirming that my pulse has largely settled down while hearing out Sakashida's idiotic life story, I dig my hands into the gravelly ground and pull myself to my knees.
Yuji!
It's fine. Get back. Grabbing Amane's wrist with a hand coated in sticky blood, I draw her body behind mine. Stop trying to numb the pain of your failure by pushing the blame onto a scapegoat. All you're really looking for is an excuse to end your miserable life. If you want to die, do it alone. Don't take people who still have a future down with you.
これは驚きましたね。言うじゃないですか。銃が怖くないんですか？あなた、風見裕二さん、あなた何なんです？何か妙に重厚慣れしていますね。若者特有の辛い針というわけでもなさそうですし。まるで何度も銃口の前に立ったことがあるみたいに妙に落ち着いている。
Maybe he has. So you're kind of fucked.
おもちゃではないことは、撃たれたあなたが一番よく理解しているでしょう。
As if to demonstrate, he thrusts forward the muzzle of his gun. The twin barrels, coated with black paint to prevent bare metal from flashing a warning into unsuspecting prey, glitter dully in the afternoon sun. None of that matters. Sakashida-san? Respectfully, sir, you're full of shit. You want to find a new purpose in life? Fine. Good for you. I don't give a damn. But retribution? Who the hell do you think you are? You're just taking out your misery on others. Who died and made you judge, jury, and executioner? It's a shotgun and a hard luck story make you into some kind of holy warrior? Because from where I'm standing, you look more like a condescending, arrogant lunatic. If you had a real reason to deliver retribution, and if you were qualified to play that role, maybe I'd accept your judgment. But I'm not gonna play along with the temper tantrum of some idiotic child who can only hold himself together by forcing his misery on others. Don't make me fucking laugh! God damn.
これは参りましたね。思った以上に弁の立つ方だ。
God damn, Yuji. Come on, keep tearing him apart.
なんかもう必死ですよね。私を怒らせて、天音さんに銃口が向かないようにしているつもりですか？
I mean, that was the plan, yes.
私が怒りに任せてあなたに向けて2発撃ち込めば、弾を込めている間に天音さんを逃がすことができるとでも？あはは、これは参った。なんという勇気だ。あなた勇者じゃないですか。かっこいいですな。
Oh my god, why has he got the noblewoman's laugh? Like, why? Why has he got a noblewoman laugh? Alright. I'll permit you to have a crush on me.
ではお望み通り殺してあげましょうか。
Feel free to try. As a rule of thumb, people who bother to spout off threats like, "Do you want to die?" aren't about to follow through on them. When someone wants you dead, they'll kill you, not waste their time giving you a sermon. What this man really wants is to see us cower on the ground, begging for our lives. Ideally with snot running down our faces. Amane?
ほう、どうしました？天音さん。
あなたの娘を見殺しにしたのは私よ。あなたが殺したいのは私でしょ。ユージは関係ないわ。むしろ家族を失ったあなたと同じ被害者よ。
おうおう、それで私はどうなっても構わないから、風見さんは助けてほしいとそうおっしゃる。
She wants to pull a Kazuki.
おっしゃるわ。
But she also, wants to die by somebody else so she can be freed of her sin. I can see that. I can see where she's going with this.
おっしゃられてもね。さてさて、これはどうしたものか。
死に場所が欲しいなら私がここで一緒に死んであげるから。
Amane!
いいからユージは黙ってて。これは私とこの人の問題なのよ。
はあ、そんなにも大切ですか、この風見さんが。
He's gonna shoot Yuji anyway. To inflict a pain on Amane that he's felt, losing something precious to him. Sakashita's face twists into a habitually mocking expression of a man rotten to his core. Amane realizes her mistake. This man had no intention of letting me go from the start. He intended all along to kill me before her eyes. To force her to suffer the agony of losing someone precious to her, and only then take her life. No, it's entirely possible that I was the only target from the very beginning. He may not want nothing more than to force Amane into the depths of despair. To leave her stranded in her agony, crawling pitifully through a living hell.
私はね、ずっとね、こういう機会を待っていたんですよ。誰もね、私の悲しみなんざ理解しちゃくれない。私にはね、もうこんなことぐらいしか残ってないんですよ。
God damn. You know, you're one hell of a nuisance, old man.
でしょうよ。出なければ意味がない。もっと理不尽をかみしめてくださいよ。それが私の唯一の慰めになるのですから、はい。
最低だわ。
いいですね。もっと私を憎みましょう。もうね、どんどん憎もう。そしてもっともっと苦しみましょう。よし、逃げていいですよ。
It's about time for me to take another thing anyway. I'll do it after this, hopefully.
は
だから逃げていいと言っているんですよ。もっと無様に、もっと惨めに。もがくようにして生にしがみつく姿を私に見せてください。はい、よーい、ドン。ほら、どうした？走れ！
He wants to literally hunt us? Oh, now he's got to reload. As if stung by the sound of Sakashida's blast into the sky, Amane roughly grabs my clothes, pulls me to my feet, and drags me down the rocky path at a dead run. As I'm forcibly dragged into sudden action, my spine creaks painfully, and my wounded shoulder pulses with agony. Amane! Hey! Amane! My voice doesn't reach her ears. Half carrying me, she runs in sheer desperation, frantically putting every inch she possibly can between us and that man.
あの人ももう人間じゃない鬼だ。
Jesus Christ. Amane's tearful, choked voice trembles with terror. Simply fleeing from the mocking laughter behind us is the most we can do. I'm giving you a 10-second start, and I gotta reload. And the frickin' trail takes 3 hours to get down. If you go that way, you're in clear sight. But if you try going through the forest, you can get stuck, caught on shit, and then he can still catch up to you and get you. Oh. They really don't have options. More times than I can count, we lose our footing on the uneven ground. Half crawling over sharp rocks and thick vegetation, we run desperately, directionlessly, thinking only of gaining distance from our pursuer. Whenever we come to a momentary halt, a blast of gunfire gouges the ground only a little behind us. Frantic to keep our legs moving, we eventually lose all sense of where we're going. But as we splash across the small stream Amane and the others had used as their water source, our menacing shadow abruptly vanishes.
もう大丈夫かな。追ってこないみたい。
Oh no, he's hunting us. No. He's here. Hiding himself, but watching us closely.
わかるの？
Only by intuition. But I don't think he'd give up so easily either. At a guess, Sakashida must be a recreational hunter. The first time we met, he approached me with perfect stealth, then vanished like a ghost into the station crowd after our conversation had concluded. Most likely, he's got extensive experience hunting large wild game like deers or bear. Such animals can notice the presence of a typical human being from a good 200 meters away. Hunting such creatures requires the ability to blend perfectly into your surroundings, a skill equally applicable to stalking other humans. This man's a serious goddamn nuisance.
ユージ、怪我は？
There's definitely something lodged in my right shoulder. The pain isn't unendurable, but I need to get this bleeding stopped, or things are gonna get ugly. That said, in our desperate flight, we left our backpacks and pouches behind at the memorial. We don't have even the most basic of medical supplies on hand.
どうしよう。傷口を縛ろうにも背中と肩じゃ。
That is a problem, but at this rate, the bastard's just gonna slowly torture us to death either way. We have to fight back somehow. We have absolutely nothing in the way of weapons on hand. And having been shot, my ability to fight is dubious at best. In that case... Amane? Let's split up here and escape separately. He wants to kill me in front of you. If we try to run away together, that's how this will end. Also, it might be unfair of me to put it this way, but I can operate easier alone. I want you to focus on escaping. Oh, good fucking Christ. Okay, as much as I actually do want to continue this and finish this today, I feel like there's gonna be like another good hour and a half of this. So I think I'll dedicate at least one stream next week to finishing this off for good. Because this headache is actually really starting to get to me right now. Can't really tough it out. Well, so that's a good cliffhanger to leave off on, I would say. Oh, God. I gotta take another acetaminophen. As long as I'm feeling better, I will be back later tonight for some more Kingdom Hearts 3. And then after that, you'll have to look at Discord or Twitter to find out what my schedule will be. But there's going to be at least one Fruit of Grisaia stream, because I want to finish it off. Finish off Amane's route. I really want to finish Amane's route off before 2023. That's my goal, and I think I can do it in one more stream. It'll be a long stream, as long as I don't have any bitrate issues, I should be able to get it done. So, other things. I've slowly kind of looked at my Steam of games I have that I might want to play again. At least for the, like, variety 2 weeks. yeah, a variety double week. I'm thinking I'll do at least one of Chroma Squad again, because I really like that and want to continue playing Chroma Squad, because that was fun as shit. What else do I got? I was thinking of doing. I might do a stream of Zeus again, because that was fun, and I might be able to get past the stupid glitch I had that wasn't letting me exit an option. That announcement that came up. I also think I might try to finish off Star Wars Republic Commando. Just because that's got one more, like, big mission to go, and then that game is done. It's a fairly short game, so might as well just do it, get it done, over with, finished. Just add one more, game to the list that I've done. Kingdom Hearts 3 streams will still be at, like, their normal times, these last 2 weeks. I want to keep that consistent, though, because I want to keep going with KH3. That's about all I've got just from Steam at the moment. That anything I do isn't just a long haul game. We'll see though. I do have, my PS4 library and stuff. Like I think I might do the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Mega Battle again, because that was pretty decent. I did enjoy that guy. And I think I got a few more games. I'll look at all my library games, see if there's something I can do, like, I might make a good, like, one-shot or something. See how it goes. Maybe I'll look back at my, during my subathon week, the week I was off, see if there was any other games on there I particularly enjoyed. Clearly I can't play Mercenaries again. From what I remember, the game just kept crashing. So I can't play it, at least not on the 360. I might be able to in another dubious way. But we'll see. We'll see. I'll kind of let you guys know. Once I find out my work schedule tomorrow, I'll be able to piece together, my stream schedule. So, thanks everyone for watching, commenting, and lurking. I do appreciate it very much. Oh, one more thing, actually. I forgot. Before I actually end off, I had something arrive today that I was waiting on. Expect next week for a Gunpla and Chill stream. we're gonna build the high-grade Shenlong. The last of the original 5 Gundams from Gundam Wing. The set will be complete. I have been waiting for this bad boy for a little bit. So that's a stream for sure next week. Grisaia is a stream for sure next week. KH3 will still be sometime next week. And probably Chroma Squad as well. I will put that schedule all together once I get my work schedule. So, you got some things you could potentially look forward to, potentially laugh at, so we'll see. So, for real this time, thank you everyone for watching, commenting, and lurking. I appreciate it very, very much. I hope you all have yourselves a great rest of your day.